the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on a Monday morning. We are glad that you have joined us wherever and whenever it is that you tune us in each and every week here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. Brett and Faith here on a Monday morning. Glad to see you, Faith.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Getting another week started, coming off of a bye week for Auburn football. And it's Georgia week, so there's really nothing else to say about that. It's going to be a week of anticipation, a night game in Jordan-Hare, your rival. We'll take a look at the history of this game. It hadn't been real good lately for Auburn, but we'll look at the history of the game because that's what you do when it's your rival or one of your rivals. And, we'll also talk about the bye week, what happened this week for Auburn in preparation of this Georgia game. How did Georgia do, obviously, this past weekend? We'll talk about that. There's going to be a ceremony in Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday night. We'll talk about that as well. And then we'll dive into some of the stats and stuff. So a lot to get to on this Monday of a rival week. And it's Georgia. Nobody likes them. We're not even going to pretend to like them. I know you hate them. The level of hate is really up there past where even mine is, which is amazing. I may hate Alabama a little bit more than you hate Alabama, so it kind of balances out.
Yeah, no, definitely being from the state of Georgia makes you really, really hate them growing up because just got barked at one too many times. And, Auburn, with the seasons that they've had, it's been really hard to say anything back, really, because Auburn hasn't proven themselves. But then when you say anything about, basketball or something, it doesn't count. But football is the only important sport. So right. I don't, You
should have said, yeah, it apparently is because everything else you have sucks. So yeah, you're right. So you concentrate on football, which they've been really, really good at, no doubt about it. So, I've thought about this over the weekend and kind of heading into this week and all the pressure on Auburn to get things turned around from a coaching standpoint, from a program standpoint. And you want to dive into it. And, really when I look back at the Oklahoma and the Texas A&M game, specifically the A&M game, because it's the last one, we run an RPO-style offense, or Auburn runs an RPO-style offense, but where's the R? Where's the run in this? And, the more I thought about the pressure coming on Jackson Arnold and the pressure on that offensive line to block, when you don't have a run game that the other team honors or respects, or they don't think it's going to be a major contributing factor to what you do offensively, then they can pin their ears back. Then they can bring some extra pressure. Then they can maybe add a few more guys in the box to try to bring pressure and let the defensive backs maybe play like a cover zero look. Because, four runs. I don't understand in the first half of that Texas A&M game, we keep going back to that. 4 runs by your two backs after you talked about it going into the season being a major strength of your offense, having to run the football in an RPO-style offense to make defenses respect that so you can open up the passing game. But I think all of that's contributing. So I've got question marks about the game plan and the scheme of what Auburn's coaches have done offensively to this point.
Yeah, no, you and I both have talked about that just time after time again, because once you leave some of these games, especially these road games, you feel very confused because you and I both, me especially, never have claimed to be a coach. You aren't a coach, but it makes you wonder when you hear everything that we do from the coaches and then you see what's been put out on the field of these are two totally different things that we were told and then what we saw. And if we've talked about how good our run game is. Why haven't y'all done that? It's
I mean, I don't know who you're fooling though. No, that's kind of my deal right now. I don't know who you're trying to trick. And when you look at this situation from a running game standpoint for Auburn, I don't know I don't know why you're not leaning on a Jeremiah Cobb that's got 403 yards rushing. I know Damari Austin's missed a couple of games because of nursing a small injury, but he's back to a point where he can contribute fully. I just go back to this A&M game, and the game plan didn't make any sense to me. Now I look at Texas A&M after what they did to Mississippi State on Saturday, and now that they're number 5 in the country, and they look good. I mean, now offensively they struggled in the first half. Marcel Reed struggled again, but he got it going in the second half. But they do have a formidable run defense, and they're probably going to make a lot of teams look bad offensively, but by the way they scheme and what they've built and what Mike Elko's done over there. But again, you have to just the longevity of something in a game plan that you have to stick with throughout a game. You can't try it a few times in the first quarter and go, well, we didn't get anything out of that. We got to abandon that. You have to continue to make them think and make them honor that. That way you can take some shots, and maybe your receivers aren't so covered up. Maybe you make them think that you're going to run the ball and you can't be so aggressive with your blitzing because you can get burned with a draw play or something like that. We saw Vanderbilt, and I know Vanderbilt lost to Alabama. We saw Vanderbilt use the shovel pass last year and this year to kind of slow down that pursuit for Alabama, and they burned them a few times. But, right now the Auburn game plan offensively is so simplistic. Teams are pinning their ears back and they're bringing so much pressure, and maybe they are confusing the offensive line, and maybe isn't all on them. Maybe it's the scheme and the protection in the way the game plan's being called that's causing all this disruption. Maybe they're afraid that, hey, look, I gotta get off the ball a half a step faster. So maybe that's what's causing the false starts, because they know, hey, look, I got guys coming from everywhere and we got to pick all this up. I just think it's all contributing. And I think what Kyle said on Friday when we all talked is that if you're looking, you're not running plays to set up another play to burn a team. You're like, okay, there's no rhyme or reason for why you're calling the plays. It's like, I know I got to get Cam this many targets. I got to get so-and-so targets over here. I got to do all of this instead of having a conformed game plan that you're trying to run, to be successful in a football game. I don't know. I may be grasping at straws, but it just looks so sporadic.
After the South Alabama game, we hopped on here, and something that you said was the offense looks so vanilla. And nothing has changed. And you would think that maybe in SEC play, you would see more of a scheme or some sort of something different than just what you throw out against South Alabama and Ball State.
9 carries. Yeah, 9 carries for your running backs, and I'm counting Eric Singleton in there too. Isn't going to cut it in the SEC. That I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if you're playing Kentucky or whoever it is that you want to call. I mean, right now Auburn is the bottom of the heap. But I don't care who you're playing in this league. When you only run the ball 9 times, the other times you ran it was with your quarterback, which some were designed and some were scrambles, that you basically are saying we don't have a running game. And so teams are not honoring that. They don't respect that. So they're gonna sell out to bring pressure on passing and to try to come up with things on the back end to make it difficult for your receivers to get open or to even show that they're trying to get open. So I just think that from a game plan standpoint, it's all bass backwards, for lack of better terms. I think that you got to stay patient and you got to show it. So what did Free say in the off week? Oh, we got to run the ball even if it get 2 or 3 yards. Well, no kidding, because we discussed last week the third down efficiency is terrible, and that stat that still stands out to me that Auburn averaged 11.7 yards on third downs the last couple of games. Well, they would have just been better to spike the football on first and second down and have a third down and 10, because on average they were behind the chains beyond 10 yards. I mean, there's a lot of that contributes to your one-dimensional from a viewpoint of a defense trying to game plan and scheme for your offense. They do not honor Auburn's run game right now. So Auburn basically, in the eyes of defensive coordinators, are a one-dimensional team. So maybe that's why Jackson, maybe when you look at it, I know you've seen clips and film of Jackson Arnold and there's receivers open, but, you know, everybody can pause a video and it makes things look different. It makes it look like they're a little bit more open than they are. Then you hit play and there's really not that much space in between. And by the time a quarterback sees that receiver and releases the ball, that window's really not there anymore. So perception can be a little bit different, but it is difficult when you have a quarterback back there that is struggling with a timing situation and he doesn't have a running game that he can rely on either.
No, I mean, you go and you watch, like today I've been watching the NFL games today, and you see some of these guys that just, even though the receivers are being covered, number one, they have the confidence to just throw it to them because the receivers are skilled enough to make a catch against, you know, the defense, but also they're not intimidated to go and throw the ball. And that's really what it looks like.
Yeah, and how much of that's been contributed by the coaching staff? I think we brought the points up on Friday that on the surface, it looks like the offensive line is horrible. It looks like they're not getting off on the ends, defensive ends, bringing the rush, or they're having a hard time getting out in front and stopping that. They're having a hard time hearing. There's too many pre-snap penalties. I know all that looks bad, but maybe it's because of the things that are going on that are pre-snap or designed that's causing them to have the discombobulation that they're having. So there's a lot of that you can discuss and talk about. We're going to go ahead and talk about some of our partners here on the program. Then I want to flip over to the defensive side of the ball. And basically, again, did the bye week help this team? Are you going to see some things on Saturday that we haven't seen? Or are you going to see some things that have been cleaned up by this football team to give Auburn a legitimate chance to win Saturday against Georgia? We're going to talk about that when we come back from this. But Sensa Green.
Sensa Green for air that's cool and clean this fall during dollar days. Call Sensa Green for major discounts on HVAC repairs and installs, plus installation with Professor Greenbacks. Get HVAC smart at sensagreen.com through Thanksgiving with up to $100 off HVAC repairs, $500 off installation work, and $1,500 off a new HVAC system. Sensa Green with Carrier, turn to the experts. How cool are these coupons?
Very, very cool. We're glad that Sensa Green's providing these cool coupons. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm in Birmingham, Alabama, working with boards of education, municipalities, whatever it is, major projects they have going on and overseeing. And if you have a multi-million-dollar project that you're planning, you need to be calling Scout Program Management to lead that project for you. I'm telling you, they do a tremendous job. They are worth every penny, and you'll be glad that you hired them because they're on site. They're making sure everything's being done correctly. And I'm telling you, you don't have time to do all that stuff. You don't have time to know what's going on and what kind of changes are being made. That's why they're hired. So check out Scout Program Management online in Birmingham, Alabama.
And Bunkers in downtown Auburn. Everyone knows how much we love Bunkers. They're actually open today. Normally they're not, but I think with NFL and everything going on that Bunkers it just makes sense for them to be open on Mondays too. So go over there, get some steak sliders, go hang out, have some drinks. They have some great happy hour deals over there. But yeah, just head to Bunkers in downtown Auburn.
Yeah, check them out. 50 parking spots right there. The perfect mix of sports, food, music, and fun, like they say in their new slogan there. So we love it over there for sure. So you go check it out if you have not done so. All right, DJ Durkin. This group gets better, it seems like, every game. Georgia is a run first off. There's no doubt what they like to do. Okay, while Auburn doesn't show any propensity to run the football. Georgia would be fine if they never threw it. I mean, that's how much they rely on their running game. That's where their bread is buttered. So this should be the matchup that's looked at. Auburn's defense is allowing about 88 yards on the ground per game, and a little less than a little bit more than 2.5 yards a carry per attempt. So Auburn's defense against the run is really, really good. But on the flip side of that, Faith, Georgia's offense, the run offense for them is one of the best in the country.
Yeah, just against Kentucky, they had 180 yards, which is the lowest that they've had this whole season. But
180 yards is the lowest they've had.
Yes. And when they were at home against Alabama, they had 227 yards.
Right. So, and here's the thing: teams know they're going to run the ball, and they don't bust a long run every time. But it's patience and persistence and saying, look, that's why Gunnar Stockton and the passing game for Georgia is so effective, because they run the ball so well. Teams have to creep up in the box, and they have to. That's why a play action pass. You see Georgia run maybe an older style offense, more play action type passes to the H back, or to backs out of the backfield, or just crossing patterns over the middle. Because you freeze the linebackers when you show that play action, because they think, well, here's another run. And so you get everybody committed, and you get everybody looking inside, and you get everybody watching the flow. I know Georgia ran a play inside the 10-yard line against Kentucky where they showed everything go to the left, and they brought the running back to the right, and he walked into the end zone because everybody is so used to watching the flow. And so you just do it over and over and over and over, and you get teams creeping up. And then that's when you bust them on the reverse, or the counter or whatever. And that's why those plays work so well. And then you keep doing that, and then you play action off of that. And Gunnar Stockton's got a wide receiver on the backside wide open. Everything is strategic. Everything is to set up something coming later down the road. That's what we were talking about with Auburn. It's like there's no flow or rhyme or reason to the play calling for Auburn. You don't know what they're going to do, and it doesn't make any sense. You watch Georgia, they're not the most dynamic offense, but everything has a reason. And you can bet run to the left, run to the left, run to the left, get you bought in, get you looking, get you cheating inside, and then come back the other way, and they bust a big run or a pass on the backside. That's how they play.
Every time I go and watch some other team, it feels like I'm saying, I wish Auburn could be creative like this. And even during that game, I was texting you, and I was like, it looks like Auburn is going to be chasing their tails the entire game, just because of how Georgia's offense is so – it's different but so successful, and I mean,
they stick with what they stick with what they do well.
Right.
They don't try to change based on they are confident in what they do, and they go, okay, why we do this well, so it's your job to stop it. And if we have to make some adjustments, we will. But again, everything has a reason. And when you run the ball for 227 yards against Alabama, and you run the ball for 180 against Kentucky, and let's be honest, the reason they didn't have to do it much more is because they took the starters out in the second half in the fourth quarter. So it's not like they were running their true offense anymore with their starters. So I'll give them a little bit of a break on that. Their numbers could have been better for sure there. But overall, they have an identity, Faith. The bottom line of what we're talking about is they have an identity. You look at the play calling for Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt shot themselves in the foot against Alabama yesterday. They fumbled the ball inside the 10. They threw a pick inside the 10. And that you can't turn the football over and on the road, especially in this league, and expect to win many games. But for the most part, Vanderbilt had success moving the football up and down the field just because of the the looks and the way they disguise some of their formations. And it's the same plays. You remember hearing the announcers talk about it. They're running the same plays, but they're running it in different ways. So the defense hasn't seen it lined up like that. It may be the same play, but it's coming from a different side or it's coming from a different angle. So you're right. I go back to my comment a couple of weeks ago, just vanilla. It's so predictable. The things that Auburn does is so predictable. And there's no excuse for that at this level with the playmakers that Auburn has.
No question. You know, back to Auburn's defense, Coach Durkin was talking about how with Georgia's offense that they run and how whether or not they're going to be running the ball or doing some sort of pass, they're able to keep up because of how much depth the defense has. And that's something that we said at the beginning of the season of how, you know, there's somebody to back someone else up because and it doesn't feel like you're losing anything when you're taking out the starter because the second string is just as good, you know, you're not losing anything, but all you're doing is getting, you know, some more energy, more momentum and freshening everybody up. And so that's something that at least Auburn's going to be able to have control of over there is hopefully the energy levels on the defensive side of the ball.
You know, you and I are going to talk. We're going to talk about the history of this matchup. And you know, one thing stood out to me when I was looking at these games by year, and you go back to 2006, and really that's where Georgia has started. They started their domination. Auburn's only won 3 times since 2006, which is embarrassing. And Georgia's won 8 in a row, which if they win Saturday will match their longest winning streak in this series by 9. Which was dated way back. So there's again, you can dive into all these different things of this rivalry, but the one thing that I look at, not being able to score. And Auburn can't score this year. And the thing that stands out to me, the 3 times Auburn has beaten Georgia since 2006, they've scored in the 40s. 49 in 2010. 43 in 13 and 40 in 2017. Then they turned back around and played them in the SEC championship game and only scored 7 in that game. But Kerryon Johnson was hurt. It was a little bit different of a story. But the commonality is Auburn to win in this series, you got to score points. Listen to these totals. 7, 0, 7, 13, 7, 7, 10, 14, 6, 10, 10, 20 2 years ago and lost by a touchdown. We're in that game, probably should have won the game. And then 13 last year. Faith, that's not beating anybody. I mean, you're scoring 1 time. How many times did I say Auburn either didn't score or scored 7 points or 6 points? 5 times in that stretch. I mean, what's your realistic expectations? Now, Georgia wasn't much better in 16. They only scored 13. But there's been some games in here where Auburn had a chance to win. You know, defensively, they've done their part, but Auburn's offense in this series the last 15, 18 years has been horrendous.
Georgia holds a 65-56-8 record over Auburn. And, you know, like you said, 8 games for their current win streak. And it will be
it's in the rivalries, this streak they're on right now.
Right. It will be very disturbing for Auburn if they go out and lose, because at the beginning of the year, you and I both said if Auburn ends up in the position where they are 3-3,
yep,
everyone's on a hot seat there. Everyone. And, you know, you've got Missouri next. And that's another top 25 ranked team, isn't it?
Right.
So
how about can you turn the page and actually get a big win to stop this streak for Georgia, get a win over your rival at home?
Stop the streak of losing in the SEC for Auburn.
Well, I was getting to that. There's a lot of streaks to stop here. But first and foremost, show that you can compete in this rivalry again. and then get your first win in SEC play and then build some momentum going down the stretch here. You know, can you actually step up and improve and correct mistakes and turn this season around, or is this just going to be the same song, different verse again this year, where you're struggling to try to get to 500? All that's on the line on Saturday, and you couldn't frame it up any better to have Georgia. This is not the best Georgia team that we've seen over the last 10 years. Let's just be honest about it. They are still a very good team. They got a deep roster, but this is not some unbeatable Georgia team. You got to go out and win the dang game. You got to go defend your home turf, show that you're back in this rivalry, and go get a win in SEC play and get to 1-2 with some games coming up you feel like you can win. And all of a sudden things are turned around for your season. So, but it starts Saturday. What has this coaching staff done in an off week and this week coming up in preparation for this game to kind of change the fortune of this season? We'll see. We'll see.
It's definitely a question mark for everybody because
I'm tired of walking in that post-game press conference, watching a coach and a dejected quarterback come in and look at the table. Faith, I mean, I again, is that going to be what we are dealt again on Saturday? You and I walking into a post-game presser with more excuses of why we didn't get things done, or we're going to actually have a night to celebrate because Auburn went out and made corrections and they beat Georgia at home and there's a lot of momentum. I mean, what a great night it could be if they could actually pull off a win.
6:30 kickoff in Jordan-Hare Stadium. You've got halftime that, you'll be retiring Cam Newton's jersey, and that's also a massive deal. Nothing beats Jordan-Hare at night. The fans are going to show up and show out because they do week after week with no matter the results out on the field, they're still going to show up. Right. And I think that right there, we said it last week about Texas A&M, but that right there is 7 points on the board for Auburn with just the atmosphere, the fans.
It should be, for sure. So, I mean, that's kind of what, at some point in time, you got to step up and take advantage of the situation. And can Auburn do that? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But, looking forward to it. Going to be a fun week to cover. You and I won't be at practice this week because we are both in parts unknown. But we'll be keeping everybody up to date on what's going on this week. Obviously, Coach Freeze press conference today, setting the stage for this week. We'll hear what he's got to say a little bit later on today. And then we'll blink. It'll be time for the game on Saturday, but we'll be talking more about that the rest of the week. Some more of our partners here on the program before we get off. Old Number One Customs, again, finished up our master bathroom. It is beautiful. Going to have some pictures this week for everybody to see. And you need to go check them out online. All the great work that they do, 334-752-6162 for your master bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, dining room, outdoor living space, whatever it is that you're looking for, they'll do it for you. Call them, 334-752-6162.
JFA Blue Plumbing will go ahead and install your Home Atlas Water Filter Duo because it's so important to have filtered water, especially today. You've seen how many different areas end up with nasty stuff in their water. And so JFA is going to make sure that you've got a Home Atlas Water Filter Duo to filter out and purify water throughout every single faucet in your house. Calling them at 844-JFA-BLUE. For your tailgate this weekend, it's going to be a night game. You want to have some good bartenders because that means tailgating is going on all day and everyone still needs to make it to the games. So go ahead and call on Oliver Ross to be your bartending service for your tailgates, or if you've got any sorority, fraternity, day parties, whatever, Oliver Ross will be the bartending service for you.
I was at a wedding yesterday, actually Saturday. We were at a wedding Saturday, and Oliver Ross bartending service was there, and they did a tremendous job, outstanding job by Oliver Ross, and they're licensed and fully trained bartenders. Just a great night. Walked up to the bar, and they had everything already prepared for you. It was just great. So I can personally attest to their services and how great they do everything. And I watched them as everything was wrapping up. They were cleaning everything up, breaking it down, taking it away. You don't have to worry about anything. They just handle it all. So check out Oliver Ross.
That's enough to sell me right there. If I don't have to break any of that stuff down and do any of it.
Oh, man. And watching them have to pick all that stuff up and clean it up, I was like, man, that's no.
Hired.
Bingo. Call on Oliver Ross. All right. That's going to wrap us up here on a Monday. Again, we appreciate all of you so very much. It is Georgia week. We're going to be talking about that a lot. We'll be talking about some basketball as well as next week. Faith will be at Birmingham for SEC basketball media days and a basketball game all in the same day. So it's already here. Looking forward to that. Day. Yeah, it's going to be a fun day. So we've got a lot coming up with basketball that we'll talk about. Of course, getting you ready for this football game on Saturday. So, Faith, you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just hope everyone has the best week ever.
Absolutely. Get it started right. Be nice to people. Go out and do something good for somebody. And we will catch you again